I am not sponsored or affiliated with any of the companies of the platforms that I use. This video is just to show and demonstrate the applications I prefer to use for my personal project. One of the things that I personally really like about AI art, it can revive old projects that have been long left for dead. What you're looking at now is a character that I created a long time ago, and this character is actually a 3D animated character. A style that I've been always trying to pursue is how can I get my 3D animation to look like 2D animation. With all this pursuit of trying to get things to look hyper realistic, this is kind of a counteraction to that. I wanted to create something that was very stylized. Storytelling was the main factor, not something that was attempting to try to look photorealistic.
That's so awesome! I think that's the coolest thing I've ever seen, for sure!
The project was abandoned because it was way too time consuming. Just to do this short little 5-second animation took me months. I had to rig the character, I had to design the character, I had to model the character, I had to texture the character, and I had to animate the character. Even though I really enjoy the process of animation, it's a lot of fun, but it also takes a lot of time and it's a lot of work. Not to forget, you still had to do post-production, compositing, sound design, video editing, a lot of tasks for a one-man band. My main profession has always been as a 3D and digital artist. And here we're inside of 3D Studio Max, and you can see this is the character. And just so you know that how complicated this can be, even though it gives you ultimate levels of control, it's very, very time consuming. I was very curious to see if I can recreate or improve this project with the use or help of AI. As much as I was happy and very proud of what I've created, bringing it to AI brought a whole new life into the project. Looking at the original version over here and the AI version over here, I feel that the essence was kept at the same time, polishing it and bringing the character up to another level. It gives me the ability to focus more on telling the story than working on tedious tasks that take forever and then the story never gets told. Both clips here are 5 seconds long. The one that was done manually in 3D animation took me months, several months to create, maybe 2 to 3 months. The one here created with AI took me less than an hour. Just as a quick comparison, this animation was created within Kling. There are distortions if you look at her hand. So you're looking at a frame here, the character is very distorted. But the thing is, because the character is moving fast, a lot of that distortion can be passed off as motion blur. In real animation, they usually use a method called smearing, and smearing is when they distort the character to give it motion. Even though this is not smearing, you can kind of pass it off as, yeah, that's just smearing. Looking at the original animation here, obviously you can see there's a difference in the style, because the original, I was trying to do a style that's called a lineless style, where there's no black outline. I think in this version, the outline suits the style very well. The only thing I would change is probably having the black outlines, colored outlines. So for instance, her sweater is purple. I would have preferred the outline to be a dark purple instead of black. With a little bit of Photoshop work, I could change any element and correct any slight mistakes and add in any little things to make it custom. Creativity is not lost. The only real thing you lose is control. Less control over the animation and motions of the character. I just randomly came across this image here on the Sora community. I'd probably love to come out with a style like this, which is pretty much a lineless kind of minimalistic style. I have yet to challenge myself to push it this far, but I really love the look of this kind of minimalistic style. When you're watching something that looks like this, you're not really thinking, oh my god, that doesn't look real at all. You're just enjoying the story that's being told, and that's what I want to focus on. Let's talk a bit about the character exploration. So I started out with this image here of a character I designed. This is actually a 3D model that was rendered to look like 2D, and it was a style I was experimenting with and really loved it and wanted to see if I can convert it. This is also a 3D model, and this character was with the Lineless art style. What I was attempting to do was use this image of the face, have AI create the body for this character, and as well color the character. This was what I wanted as the palette and kind of feel for the body and look of this character. So I told the AI to use this image of the head, create a body for it, color it in the style of this character right here so that they could belong to the same universe and have the same art style. Let's see what AI gave me. It combined both characters. So initially it took this image and gave the character this face. Not what I was going for, but it did a great job regardless. So it captured the style and it captured the outfit. I didn't want to combine the characters. I wanted to have an original character in the style of this character here. Experiment 2 was I was trying to get it to color the outlines without using black lines. So you could see in these ones, the outline is black. I would prefer the outline for the blue backpack to be dark blue, not black. The outline for the sweater to be dark purple to match the purple of the sweater, and same for the skin and the socks and shoes and so on. So I tried to prompt to get the AI to do that. It did a little bit of it. You can see the hair is not a black outline. It's a darker red outline. But it still gave everything else pretty much a dark outline. Like the skin outline should be like a lighter tone. The socks should be gray. I couldn't put it into words to get the AI to do that. So the process of coloring the outlines might have to be done manually within Photoshop or a photo editor. Here are images of me trying to focus more on this character. I like this one a lot here. I love the shading and the style. The proportions of the body could have been a lot more teenage looking because it's supposed to be a teenage character. This came out really beautiful. So now I'm trying to focus on just getting the design of the character, not so much color. So I took a step back and said, focus on the line art and let's not focus on the color. I'll worry about the color later. So trying to just get the body proportions correct, and the AI gave me these two versions. I like what it's doing as far as the body proportions. The only thing is the head looks a bit large. I would have preferred the head to be smaller. Again, because it's 2D and because it's still images, I could bring that into Photoshop, scale the head to the correct proportions, and so on. Some more variations, again trying to prompt it to get the head smaller. It still could have been a bit smaller. I could definitely bring this into Photoshop and fix it, and it's usable. 2 more versions, and you might think there's no difference, but this character here, I really like the simplicity. So I was focusing on how would it look if I even made the character simpler, and I really like the simple look of this. I don't know if it's a style I'll go with in the end, but I'm trying to convince myself to go for a much more minimalistic style. But I tend to really like seeing details, so I love detailed stuff as much as I like simplistic things. Here I'm playing around with color and trying to get AI to color it without me having to do it manually, and that was pretty easy. No challenge there. The skin tones could be a bit better, but again, things you can adjust after the fact. Here's versions of the character with shading. I really like how this looks right here. It's not my style and not the style I'm going for, but aesthetically I think it looks amazing, and maybe for some other type of project I'll figure out a use for it. Here's another style of very detailed shading. Again, looks great, maybe a little too detailed for the vibe that I'm going for, but I really love the look of this. This is much more the look I'm going for. Simple, it has shading, but simple one level shading. Here I'm back to trying to focus on the Gigi character. I tried to go with creating line art first and then coloring the line art to see if I would get a different style. And yes, I actually did get a different style. I used this image over here as a color reference. I told the AI, use this to color the line art down here, and it came up with these. And you can see right here that it did what I was trying to do initially by having purple outline instead of a black outline for the sweater. The hair color outline, even the skin color outline is the correct color. So it's a skin tone outline, not a black outline. So this is what I was going for. The sneakers with the gray outline, all that is what I was going for, but in order for me to get it to work, I had to provide a reference and say color it based on that. I'm not sure if I could duplicate that for other characters in the future. I'd have to figure that out. Some more attempts of trying to colorize and create a body for this character here. These colors weren't colors that I chose. The colors for the image were based on this image here because I really like this image, but I wanted to see the full body. So I wanted to see what it would look like having the shoes. So the AI generated the shoes. So here I really started to dive into the final look of what Gigi could possibly look like. And I used this image as the starting image. But what was interesting about this one, I used a preset. So down here in Sora, they have presets. So I used the cartoonified preset to generate this image. Based on using this image as the input image, I told it, cartoonify my version and see what you come up with. And it came up with this version, which out of the gate, I really loved this version. The environment would have been a bit different for me as far as the style. I would have made the environment a little less dominant, but the character design in itself looks fabulous. So here I removed the environment and just focus on the character itself. And this is when I really started to lock in on the look of the final character. This is a perfect interpretation of the character. This here is an attempt of me trying to combine both characters within the same image. This is interesting here because I really wanted to push the lineless art style to see if AI could do it. And it did a great job. No black outlines, no colored outlines, just the fill colors to create the image. I really love this style. I really do admire minimalistic styles. And just for the fun of it, I was curious to see what my character would look like in the style of Gravity Falls. If you've ever watched that show, I really like the cartoony, minimalistic style of that, and wanted to see if I could pull it off with my character. As you can see in this version, it didn't give her the red trademark glasses of the character. So I went in and prompted again and had it create the red glasses that are kind of like a benchmark for the character. And then this version went super far and really made it look like Gravity Falls, a little too far, but it had the essence of my character there. But really, it was almost on plagiarism style with this. They went a little too far with this one. Up to this point, there was something I forgot to consider, and that's AI lip sync for 2D animated characters. Meaning, characters that don't look photorealistic. Can AI work with that? I've come to discover that there's next to nothing because it's such an abstract and minimalistic version of a human face. AI doesn't recognize what that is. This is Kling's website, and as I mentioned in the past, In my opinion, this is my least favorite method of lip syncing and one of my least favorite platforms for doing lip sync. Let me give it a try and see what Kling comes up with. I figured maybe it may be better for 2D than realistic. I've come to discover that Kling may be just as bad, if not worse, at lip syncing stylized characters. Looking at the results, you can see that there is no facial animation. Every now and then, the face would just glitch.
Hello! This is so much fun! Yes!
And that's it. So that was a fail.
Oh God!
I went across from platform to platform, trying them all out to see, is there any out there that can actually do lip sync on a stylized 2D character. Here I am at PixVerse. This result actually had 0 lip sync. The mouth movement that you see came from the original input video, not the output of the lip sync.
Hello! This is so much fun! Yes!
I also remembered that Runway has lip syncing, 2 versions in fact. They have Act 1 and then they have regular video lip sync. And as you can see here, I uploaded a video, and in both cases, I got this message saying that they were unable to detect a face. And that says it all. And of course, I had to try Hedra and see what they can do. I'll give Hedra credit for actually animating the character's mouth and blinking its eyes, and actually doing lip sync is just poor quality. That's where it fails. The character animation itself is just random flailing. I tried to prompt it to do specific things and it ignored my prompt, but it gets points for at least being able to lip sync.
Hello! This is so much fun! Yes!
I tried many platforms, eventually came across Higsfield, and Higsfield is known more for doing camera movements and visual effects, but they recently came out with this speak feature for doing and generating lip sync. It's image based, where you import an image, not a video, and then you have these options of different styles. I noticed that they had this 3D category, and my logic said these faces are not human faces, especially this one. They're very distorted and abstract versions of human faces. So that immediately made me realize, hey, I wonder if it would understand 2D faces. So that's what led me to this point. I started off by just creating videos without any lip syncing to see what the video capabilities of Higsfield were. The outputs that I got were satisfactory as far as quality. The animation was a bit stiff, but there were no weird distortions, and for the style, the stiffness kind of works within the context of the content. I feel that this level of animation is workable and can actually be used in a final project. You can see that there is no distortion on the face whatsoever, and the mouth is actually making gestures to match what the character was saying.
Hello! This is so much fun! Yes!
Overall, if anybody out there knows a good platform that can do 2D stylized cartoon lip sync animation, feel free to let me know.